الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه. أعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أرسله بشيرا ونذيرا بين يدي الساعة وأرسل رسوله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله ولو كره المشركون. من يطع الله ورسوله فقد رشد واهتدى ومن يعصهما فإنه قد غوى وإنه لا يضر إلا نفسه ولا يضر الله شيء. إن خير الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وإن خير الأمور عوازمها وشر الأمور محدثاتها. كل محدثات بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. أما بعد، قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في محكم القرآن الكريم: إن الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات كانت لهم جنات الفردوس نزلا. وقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم: اللهم بارك لنا في رجب وشعبان وبلغنا رمضان. صدق المصطفى صلى الله عليه وسلم وصدق الله العلي العظيم. My dear brothers and sisters, as we live these important final days of this month of Shaban and work on our preparations for the month of Ramadan, I would like to begin with just a reminder about the calamity, the destruction from the earthquakes in Turkey and Syria over the last week that have been in a few cities, including in California, where there were gatherings that addressed the relief efforts, the du'as that are needed. I want to begin with a reminder for ourselves, once again, that what happens with the wisdom and the qadr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in keeping with His divine plan. Our role is not to question why, but to assess the actions that we have to take in these situations. Of course, we begin with sincere du'as for all those who have been impacted. We recognize the incredible destruction. Over 50,000 of our brothers and sisters who have died. The 100,000 and more injured, the thousands of buildings again devastated, close to 18, 20 million people somehow impacted and displaced, residents, refugees. So we pray, we make sincere du'as, and then we do our share by helping out, by donating from what Allah has blessed us, supporting all the relief organizations. We make du'as for the people who have passed away, of course, and those who have been hurt, and du'as for the workers who are toiling selflessly. And we volunteer wherever possible. We particularly remember that those who have passed away, inshallah, will be accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as shuhada, welcomed into the rida of Allah, the acceptance, the pleasure, and the paradise that awaits them. And we keep in mind, and particularly for those who have families who have directly been impacted and passed away. So the Prophet ﷺ said, under these circumstances, the belief is that the shuhada, they do not feel the pain of their affliction, of their suffering or the oppression. According to a tradition, he said they feel pain as if like the sting of a bug, and then it is Allah's will. So we take solace in that. And then with the du'as and what we can do, that is the assessment of our own status in life. That the calamities are part of the worldly testing and cleansing, we are told, of the Prophet ﷺ's ummah. One of the blessings of this ummah, and we pray that Allah accepts us within this community, is that there are hard tests during this life, but there is protection from the punishment of the Akhirah for the ummah, inshallah. And we also remember that these calamities, part of the role is the impact from our actions of mankind. And we ask Allah for correction and protection. And as the earthquakes have shown us, and as I came across somebody indicating this and I was impacted by it, the question is, yes, the earthquakes have taken place. We are reminded in the after also of the final earthquake. When the earth shakes from that final quake and everything is thrown. And then we are before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when we face these calamities, these difficulties, the question is, with the earthquakes, for instance, we are all shaken. The question is, are we truly moved? It's a question for me to think. Shaken? Yes. But am I moved? Is my heart softened? Am I connecting better in support of the people who are impacted? Am I connecting better with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as a means of being tested? So the reminder is particularly appropriate in these days. The dua that we keep reciting these days, Allahumma barik lana fi Rajab wa Sha'ban. Ya Allah, when the Prophet ﷺ, at the advent of the month of Rajab, when he said, make the month of Rajab and Sha'ban full of blessings for us, and introduce us. وَبَلِّغْنَا Ramadan. Allow us to welcome Ramadan. It is appropriate for me to question myself. What am I truly seeking? When I look for the blessings in the month of Rajab that was past and this month of Sha'ban and the 10, 12, 15 days that are left, what am I looking for? Am I open to the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? The blessings around me. Do I appreciate what has been gifted to me enough? Or do I continue to keep seeking more and more and more before I'm truly thankful for what is given to me? And then the significance of truly being introduced to Ramadan. Keeping in mind that the Prophet ﷺ was making this dua. And he was turning to his master, our master, to make this introduction. So we are in that same position. We are turning to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We want to be doing that in humility, in acknowledgement of our nothingness before the majesty of Allah, and then say, introduce me to this visitor. So, and who are we being asked? Asking to be introduced to? This particular period glorified by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's message and His revelation. And I need to question myself. Am I worthy of that introduction? Am I prepared to approach Allah for this? And am I prepared to be introduced to this wonderful, glorious month? Am I not just prepared, am I purified for it? And remembering that the Prophet ﷺ said, use Shaban to prepare and cleanse, to prepare and purify your body, yourself for the month of Ramadan. So there is this highlighting that this glorious visitor should not just show up at outdoors. I need to make myself deserving, purified, cleansed, elevated, in order to truly become worthy of the blessings of Ramadan. And then come the showering of the incredible bounties in that month. So remembering once again that this trimester, this period of 3 months where the Prophet ﷺ performed extra ibadah, he spent time in remembering and glorifying Allah, elevating his prayers and his shukr, and giving much in the service of humanity. So, we are in these final days of comprehensive preparation. And here is a good reminder for myself and all of us. When we are told by Abu Bakr Waraq, may Allah be pleased with him, Rajab is a month of cultivation, Shaban is a month of irrigating the field, and Ramadan is a month of reaping and harvesting. I know we think about this each year, but am I paying sufficient attention to it? Do I appreciate that over the past year there has been a build-up over my heart and my soul from the distractions of this world that keeps me from the purified connection to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? So we began a month ago with tilling the soil, starting to clean up the rust that was come up. And we sowed something to grow. And then this is the month of irrigating the field, the watering that the farmer does, so that the cleaning up has been done, the hard crust has been softened, then we pour the rejuvenating water over it. And then we do so in preparation of the month of harvesting. So I remind myself once again, I cannot allow the month of Ramadan to show up without having a plan of action in this regard, so that I stand purified, prepared for the glories of this month. And there is a combination of faith and action upon it that becomes important, brothers and sisters. Inshallah, as we get into the month of Ramadan, we will be reminded more and more of the specific blessings, the barakah. But we do so on the basis of faith that this is a special month, that the angels shall be descending, that when we are in a state of fasting, that we have our soul being elevated. And then we stand together in Taraweeh and then open up ourselves to the revelation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in a way. All of that has happened, inshallah will happen, but we go into this month with faith and then we act upon it. And I want to remind myself and all of us of some of the acts of significance tied to both the faith and the action that we appreciated. In the past month, when the Prophet ﷺ was blessed with the Isra and the Miraj, when he traveled through the heavens by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the power of Allah's creation, where he said, happen, kun, fayakun, and it happened. And he met all of the prophets, led them in salah. All of that happened. We've come through that. And then on the way down the Prophet's journey, he was shown scenes from the punishment Jahannam for the various sins. And as we prepare for Ramadan, some of the reminders from that are good for me to keep in mind. We begin with the divinely ordained gift of the Salah, and he was shown people whose heads were being shattered, they were then returned to their original state and then shattered again immediately. And he was told by Jibreel alayhi salam, these are the people whose heads والتوب